Hi, welcome to the second day of my 365-day challenge of making music every day, at least 15 minutes. This is actually much more convoluted than I intended it to be because I've got a screen set up here. Actually, I'm in my studio, which is fine, but I've got a whole setup where you can see my keys and from a camera from the top, just because I had it. But that shouldn't hinder us to produce something. Not to produce something, to do something meaningful, to spend our time with music, to spend my time with music. That's what I intend to do for the next 3 years. So welcome, thank you for joining me again. Today I thought I'm gonna get rid of the headphones for a second. Today I thought I'd show you the online jazz education course that I joined last month. I dabbled in doing something, getting educators, getting somebody to teach me jazz piano for quite some time. And I tried other online courses before, but somehow this Open Studio Jazz spoke to me, and here you see it. I decided to join. So what is it about? They've got all kinds of courses there. I just started the introductory pathway, which is basically a series of, let me see if I can show it to you, a series of one course after the other. So you see I'm in the middle of the first course, which technically isn't really that challenging for me. Let me just see if I can show it to you. Jazz piano jumpstart, solo piano basics, jazz piano method, harmony games, etc. So basically, I decided to stick with the plan and just did what they told me to do, which is basically start with the introductory pathway. But since I'm a little bit ahead in what I am able to play, I decided to not go this week by week, but rather do 1 week basically in a day or so. So I already was going through the first 3 weeks here. Let's keep the audio play along for now. And they've got basically one lesson every week where you see some theory or some concepts behind. This week 4, it's the iconic form, which is what I will be doing in a minute. And then they've got some practice sessions where you basically play along with the pianist there, and they've got a band, a bass player and a drummer, which is nice to play along. And that will be my 15 minutes for today. I hope it's okay to share the lesson. I will probably shorten it a little bit, not to run into any, I don't know, YouTube copyright mayhem or something. But let's listen to this first thing here. Week 4, the first video is called The Iconic Form. I think I know what this is about. This is about the blues form, the 12-bar blues form.
This week we're talking about the iconic form. This is all about the blues.
That's right. That's right. This is an important one to know.
It might be the most important form to know as a jazz pianist.
So what is form exactly?
Well,
what is form exactly?
Is the roadmap that we follow when we play a song. So in this case, the form is 12 bars. And those 12 bars we're going to repeat again and again. Those 12 bars are the same progression of chords every single time. So that never changes. So exactly. So we just keep repeating the same 12 bars of chords. Now, a blues is a great form to learn in the beginning because it is short. 12 bars is on the shorter end of forms.
Yeah.
And it's also very simple. There's only 3 chords, and they're in a very specific pattern. And the good news is you probably already have this ingrained in you,
Yeah.
as you've probably heard blues your whole life from people all over the spectrum of Western music. From
Is that so? I'm not sure, but it certainly applies to me. I know the blues form, which is I'm being the clever, the wise ass here, but just to see what we are talking about. This is the first chord 4 times, which is the one, right? The tonica, I think is it called. Then we've got 2 bars with the 4th chord, which is F here in our example. And then we've got 2 with 1 again, and then we've got 1 with 5, 1 with 4, and 2 with 1. Now it's the 4. So you might be wondering why I'm doing this lesson, because I want to be basically doing everything just to make sure that I don't miss any important stuff, but I sort of expect that I know what they are talking about.
Chuck Berry to Megan Trainor, you've heard different kinds of blues, to commercial television, to jazz musicians, to everything in. We're using, and you're seeing, the Roman numeral.
No, I think what I like is that they really put a huge emphasis on explaining it in a proper way. We've got 2 people, one playing, one explaining. You've got the notes and with the chords charts put on top. You see what they're actually playing on the screen. So I really like that form. It's kind of expected and standard in a way, but still it's the execution that counts. Everybody can sort of film himself or herself just playing blues, but it's the quality of the explanations and the quality of the production, I think, that makes it easier or not so easy to follow along, to stay motivated, to know what they actually talk about.
Rules here, those are used in chord progressions to help us outline the harmony. You'll see the Arabic numbers when we talk about like what is the 1 3 5 7 of a chord voicing, right? So if you have a C7 chord and I say play the 1 3 5 7, a very, very swinging recording with Paul Chambers on the bass and Art Taylor on the drums. Let's have a little bit of listen. Let's see if we can identify the form. See if you can hear the form.
Also something that I like with the Open Studio Jazz. I don't know why I keep mixing it up. They've always got their references in terms of real, actual jazz recordings, classic jazz recordings that they play. I don't know how they deal with any copyright things, but since it's not public, I guess it's not that much of a problem. So they've got playlists for Spotify and YouTube where you can listen to the original tracks, which is also kind of cool, because jazz, as I've been told, is pretty much about listening, recognizing styles, patterns, licks that people play, etc. So if you don't have a huge library of stuff to listen to, you're basically lost. And this is what this is very nice in this open studio format, where they play you the relevant references whenever they mention something.
Right? Hear that for that one song. And Art Taylor is going to improvise his drum groove the entire time. And it's going to be a conversation. Like, they're going to change what they're doing based on what the other players are doing. So Red is going to get information from Art and Paul. Paul is going to get information from Red and Art is going to be commenting on information from Red and Paul.
Which is what I completely am fascinated with. That this unspoken, well, it's not unspoken. It's a kind of communication on the stage, or when you're playing live or in the studio, with each other without using any words, right? Trying to listen to what the others are playing, trying to mimic what they are playing, expand on what they are playing with your own ideas and inspirations, and then reflecting that back to them, and then seeing what you added or what you changed or what you invented on the spot, see that being reflected and being modified and worked on, which is you don't really have that in any other art form, I guess, other than improv theater, I guess. That's why it's called improv.
It is what makes the music so alive and so great live. Especially.
Yeah, and I mean, I think a fun thing to think about the blues form, and really any form as we start to learn other forms, is that's the playground that we're all meeting on. That's the sandbox. That's how they can improvise all three at the same time. It's sort of the glue that holds things together.
Yeah.
It's like an agreement to say, you know, we can do almost whatever we want, but every chorus that we come around 12 bars, we're going to be at the top of the form, no matter what alterations, no matter what rhythms. And that's when we talk about learning the form. The more you know the form, the more freedom you have to kind of bounce around and play around on top of that.
That's exactly right. None of these people that you're hearing play this music, including Peter when he's playing it, is thinking like 1, 4, 1. They're not thinking the Roman numerals. They've done the work already. They've practiced it so that it's just part of what they're, when they play the blues, this is just what happened.
Which is kind of frustrating, right? If you're when you see these people and usually the experience that I've gotten is when you ask musicians why they are playing these kind of things, why they are playing that chord in the specific way. Most of them have a pretty hard time explaining why they are doing it the way that they're doing it right now, because it's so ingrained into them, and so they've got it so internalized that they don't need to. Unless you ask them, they never need to verbalize or explain with words what they're doing, which is what makes it so difficult, I guess, to talk about it. But not in that the way that these open studio jazz guys are doing it. That's again what I really like.
Right, this has to happen this way. And then that form is the agreement amongst the musicians so that they have some freedom. There's freedom in the form. A lot of content to improvise with.
Yes.
And for that, we're going to use the blues scale.
The blues scale. You've probably heard it before. You might know it.
Tried and true.
Yeah, exactly. But we want you to think about this as choices to play. A lot of times people learn the blues scale. They're like, oh, I've got it. Let's run up and down it. That's not the most creative way to do it.
It's not really how we use
right.
it.
We're going to show you how to do it.
That's how we want to use it. So what is the blues scale, Peter? What are the notes?
So we're at C7, key of C. We're starting on the root, C. Then we jump to the minor third, then to the fourth.
E flat and then to F.
Yep. And then to the tritone or the flatted fifth.
G flat.
Which is your leading tone going up to the fifth.
Yep.
So far we have
G after the G flat. Yep.
Yep. And then the only other note we have is the dominant seventh or the minor seventh. B flat.
B flat.
So that was the first lesson, or the first lesson of the week 4. That's basic to theory. There wasn't much playing along. This is what the guided practice sessions are about. So let me just switch to the first one here. Let's just mark the lesson, the theory lesson, as complete, and then you are going to be transported. And what you see is we're now week 4, guided practice session 1. It's a video to follow along. I will make it a little bit not that loud. And what's also there is you've got materials like the workbook chapter, which is a PDF that's basically you can follow along with the theory session that we just listened to. What also is there in the material section is the playlist that I was mentioning before, both for Spotify and for YouTube. And yeah, that's it. So let's listen to the guided practice session. And let's actually not only listen, but also work our way through it.
Welcome to week 4, the iconic form. This is all about the blues. Let's just take a second to check our mirrors, make sure that we're in a good, comfortable position. Let's take a big, deep breath.
This is also what I like.
Up. For our first session today, just mezzo forte, C3 and C4, 108 beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and. Just
both hands up and down. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, and 4. As we get to the top of the scale here, let's take a big deep breath. Exhale. Let's do one more time. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Big deep breath here at the top. For our ear training today, because we're dealing with the blues, let's do some ear training around our blues scale. Now remember, we have our blues scale C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, and B flat. And then we have Peter's secret note, that E natural. Right, so we actually have chromatic between E flat and G. Let's do some ear training here. I'm going to start on middle C. And I'm going to play one note of the blues scale. I'm going to ask you to tell me what that note is, specifically what that note is. So if we do this, you're going to say B flat, right? Just a little way to memorize the notes of the blues scale. So here's our C. What note is this?
That's the E sharp, E flat.
That's E flat, right? That's the first note up. How about this?
That's the perfect fifth.
That's our G, also a perfect fifth up, right? How about this one?
That's our
B flat.
minor.
That's our example. That's an easy one. What about this?
That's
Crunchy.
tritone. That's
It's a tritone. That's F sharp. Let's do one more.
excuse me. That's the major third.
You got it? That's the major third up from C. That's
That's
that
the E.
secret E natural. That's our ear training for our blues scale. Very simple to start here, and we'll get.
So this is what they do. They always start with checking the mirrors, checking the positions, then doing some exercise, and then some exercise that you just heard, where you listen and you try to recognize what the notes and what's the word? I forgot.
A little bit more
What they are playing
complex
basically.
as we move along. Let's check out our blues etude. So we're going to stick with our same rhythm that we've been doing. The We're going to be doing our root in our left hand and the shell in the right hand. But now we're going to be doing something a little bit differently. Instead of just moving that shell around, like when we go to our F7 here in bar 5, instead of moving everything up, we're going to switch from the 7th on the bottom and the 3rd on top, like on C7, to the 3rd on the bottom and the 7th on top for the F7. So we're just going to go our shell, we're going to go down a half step as our root goes up a perfect 4th, or down a perfect 5th in this case, right? And then when we get to the second chorus of our blues etude, we have part of our blues scale, right? But we're going to work on the different positions. Remember, we talked about the thumb position being on C. We talked about a thumb position being on F. We talked about a thumb position being on G, at least for the C blues scale. This is really the practical way that most players use this scale. It's not linear, but it's in these kind of positions where you can play bits of language. So we have each of those positions represented. In our second chorus, each of the first 2 bars starts with, and then we answer with one of the positions. So in the first one, in the second one. Now the third section, the G7, we start in that top position. Just a little bit of language working around the blues scale that's not just right up and down, right? Just a little bit of using it in the way that you might use it. And then we answer ourselves with the left hand. Then in the third chorus, we do we go back to our shells, and then we do the language in our left hand and the chords.
So I'm wondering whether I should listen or not listen. Check out the workbook while he's explaining that.
In our right hand. Better shown than spoke. Let's try from the beginning.
Yeah,
Nice and
so.
easy tempo, guys. C blues. 1, 2, 3. Play with me here. Here's our F chord. Notice that shell just moved down a half step. Back to C. Our G7, we got the third and the seventh. Down a whole step. Back to C. Now here's our language, right? Charleston rhythm.
Now, see, I'm not good at sight reading, so I've got my troubles there, playing along, which is fine. That's sort of what they are, why we've got the worksheet, right? So bear with me while I try to struggle and stay in time and everything. Let's just move it out of that bit here. So, but that's you could loop certain parts of the thing of the. Let me just move it up a little bit. Oh, you can see it really. How can I do this? It's difficult. I guess. Yeah, I can't really show you right now, but you've got a basically an area of stuff. Well, you see it anyway. That you can loop and that you can
Let's
play.
Take a second to the blue.
Which is the beginning of the whole thing, which doesn't really make sense, of course. But if, let's say, I've got a problem here, where was it? With the first, here actually, right? So if I'm setting my loop here, maybe even before that. Let's try that, and let's try play. Let's say I've got a problem with this first line here, with the phrase. Okay, I got that. And now I can then get rid of the loop, and have to move my microphone a little bit. That's, I think, what he's playing, right?
Charleston rhythm.
And again the loop. Okay. Again. No. Can't get it. No, I got it. Okay.
Next.
Okay, so that's basically the way that these practice sessions work. You see the notes on the screen. You also get the whole thing here as a PDF that you can take a look at or print out, of course. Or you could do it like myself, just listening and trying to mimic, because I'm not that good at note reading, and definitely not able to read on site and play on site. I don't know what the technical term is there, but yeah, let's continue with the form. So I think that's the next one here.
Page. Back to our root and shell. more time from the top. One more time from the top. See if you can lock into the pocket with Bob and Caleb. F7. You got it. G7. Down a whole step. All right, let's work on that blues scale with our right hand. Answer with the left. You got it. Nice. G7. Next page. Go back to the root and shell. Left hand has the melody. Right hand answers. How'd you do? Our very first shot at the blues etude felt pretty good to me. Give it up for this fantastic rhythm section, Bob DeBoo, Caleb Kirby. For the next 5 minutes, play whatever your heart desires. Whatever you want to end this session with, whatever you feel like playing. If you want to review what we've done here in the GPS, or if you want to just play whatever you feel like playing. It's your time. Till tomorrow, happy practicing.
Well, that's the end of the practice session, which always ends like that, where they encourage you to play whatever you would like, what I also really enjoy. So, yeah, let me switch to this camera, I guess. It has a slight delay, but don't really matter. Doesn't really matter to me. And let's just keep playing for a couple of more minutes, and then we call it a day for this very long 15-minute session here. Well, actually, let's try a blues. But let's try a blues in G, I guess. Okay, that wasn't 5 minutes, but we already were pretty long today. So thank you for joining me. Hope you stay tuned. Hope you help me and encourage me to stick with the 365 days challenge of doing something creatively, mainly playing music, producing music, practicing, rehearsing, playing live, whatever it may be. Yeah. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.